Welcome to lecture 11 part 2. In this lecture, we are going to cover the following topics: control statements, looping statements, and pop-up boxes. Let's come to control statements. As any other programming language, JavaScript also contains different control statements. The control statement in JavaScript is used to control the execution of a program based on a specific condition. And if the condition meets, then a particular block of action will be executed. Otherwise, it will execute another block of action that satisfies that particular condition. So it's of certain types. First one is if statement. The if statement executes a statement if a specified condition is true. This is the syntax. We write if, parenthesis, and any condition, and the block of code that we want to be executed if the condition gets satisfied, means if the condition gets true. Now let's take a look how we can implement the if statement. Already we have included the script tag. Now we can start with defining our variables as already discussed in the previous video. But in case if you don't require the variables, then we can write a condition, a simple condition. Let's say for now I'm writing 5 greater than 2. The syntax says you need to write if and then parenthesis, put the condition, and then the block of code which should be executed if this condition gets satisfied. So we can print anything here. There are certain ways to print. The first way is console.log, which was already discussed in the previous video. Console is actually a part of your browser where you can check the errors related to your website. So for this we use console.log. We can write here the condition is true. Now as we know that 5 is actually greater than 2. To go to the browser, you need to right click on the browser and click on inspect and click on the console. You will be able to see the same statement. But let's say if you don't want to use this console.log statement and instead you want to prefer to print something on the web page itself, then we have a method. We have a function called as document.write. Document.write is actually a part of DOM, that is document object model. So that we won't be discussing here. Just you need to remember that it's a way to print something on the web page, not in the console. So you can write here the condition is true. So you can print anything. And right now you can see that it has been printed. Right now it seems easy, but when you are given a question or you're given a task to solve, any problem statement to solve, then you need to declare the variables as well. Let's say we are going to take a very simple and the most commonly used example, that if a particular person is an adult or not. So you can create a variable here by using var keyword, or you can also use let keyword. So right now let's use let keyword. So I'll use let age equals to, let's say if I write here 23, and we are going to change the condition if age is greater than 18. If it's greater than 18, then we should be able to print the person is an adult. So you can see it's printing the person is an adult. What if in case the age is less than 18? I'll write here 12. So will it print anything? It will actually not print anything because the condition is not satisfied. Hence, this block of code does not execute and it does not print anything on the web page. But in real world scenarios, there may be a possibility that we come across such cases that it is required to print something if this condition is not satisfied. For this, we have another control statement, that is if-else statement. So let's come to that. If-else statement. The if-else statement executes a statement if a specified condition is true. And if the condition is false, then another statement in the optional else clause will be executed. In the syntax, we can see that it is pretty much like the if statement. So we just have an extra piece of block here, that is the else part. If the condition is true, then this block of code will be executed. But if it's false, then this block of code is going to be executed. Now in the same program, we are going to simply add the else part and write document.write. You can even write console.log as well, that is up to you. So we can say that the person is not an adult or the person is a minor. So you can see that the statement the person is a minor has been printed. But in this example, we are having just one condition where we can work with only two statements. Either it will print the if statement if it's true, or it will print the else statement if it's false. But this kind of variation of the if statement will fail if there are multiple conditions. In order to work with multiple conditions, we have another variation, that is if-else if. For working with if-else if, I'm going to comment this code, and instead I'll be taking another example where we have a variable marks. In this example, we are going to assign divisions to the student based on their marks. So we are checking a condition if marks, that is this variable, if its value is greater than 70, then student can be assigned a first division. Now, instead of directly jumping to the else statement, in between we have another piece of condition. In order to work with that another piece of condition, we have else if statement, where we are also checking that if the marks of the student is lying somewhere between 40 and 70. Now, how to write this condition? We have to write marks is greater than equal to 40. So here we are using the comparison operator, and there is one more condition with which we will be using the AND operator, which is the logical operator. So we are checking if marks is less than equal to 70. So between this range, if the student is having his marks, then the student can be simply assigned a second division. Now after this, if you have any other condition that you want to work with, you can write down that condition. But when you are done with all the conditions, then only statement that is left is the else part. Else part will run only when none of the above conditions is true. So in our example, it is printing fair division. It's because the value of marks is 20 here. Hence, it will check this condition. It's false. Will come to the next condition. It's false. Then it comes to the last one. So which will be printed if none of the other conditions is true. Now if I change the value here, let's say if I'm writing, I'll be writing here 57. Let's see what it prints. It's now printing the second division. Similarly, if we write here 95, then it will print the first division. So this is how we work with multiple conditions using the if-else if statement. Next statement is a switch statement. Instead of discussing the definition first, let's come to the syntax. First of all, the switch statement is also used for working with multiple conditions, or in other words, you can say multiple cases. So we call it as switch case statement, where we pass a parameter as an expression to the switch function, which is evaluated on the basis of these cases. So whatever the case that you want to execute, like whatsoever the value you have passed here, If that value matches up with the case X, then this block of code will be executed. If that value matches with the case Y, then this block of code will be executed. If none of the cases is satisfied, then the default will be executed. The default code block will be executed only when the value doesn't match with the above cases. So every time you're having a particular case, you also need to write down a break statement. Break statement is important so that it can jump out of that specific case. Otherwise, what it will do, it will start executing the rest of the cases as well. So what we need is that it should come out of that specific case and hence not execute the other cases. Now let's check the definition. The switch statement evaluates an expression, matching the expression's value against a series of case clauses, and executes statement after the first case clause with a matching value until a break statement is encountered. Now we are going to implement this switch statement with a simple example. I have given the headings for all the statements that we have covered till now. In order to give the headings in the script tag, you can use document.write, and whatever the HTML tag you write within it will be functional as such. So if you're writing h1 switch case, it will be visible as switch case statement in the h1 tag. Alright, so let's declare one variable. We have a variable a whose value I'm assigning as 2. Now after this we need switch function, where I'm going to pass the same variable that is supposed to be evaluated on the basis of the cases that now I'll be specifying inside this switch statement. So we need curly braces, and I'll write on the first case that if case 1, if my value matches with the case 1, then what I'll do, I would like to print a statement document.write, and I'll write case 1 is executed. Case 1 is executed. Next is, after this we also need to use the break statement. I'll also discuss why you need to use break statement and what will happen if you do not use a break statement. So let's continue. I'll specify another case, case 2, where I'll write another piece of statement that is case 2 is executed. Case 2 is executed. Right. Similarly, you can have case 3 as well. Case 3 document.write. Case 3 is executed. Case 3 is executed. Right. So let's write on the break statement as well. Break statement. Right. Now if none of these cases could be executed, then in that case we will need to have a default case as well, where we can print a statement as document.write case not found, or none of the cases executed. Case not found. And we also need a break statement. So right now, what do you see as a result? You see case 2 is executed because the value of a here is 2. We are evaluating this value on the basis of all these integer values that we are giving. So the value matches here, so that is why it is printing case 2 is executed. Now, what is the point of using break statement? Let's say if I'll comment these break statements from everywhere in all the cases. So whatever the case gets satisfied, only that statement should be printed. Now when we save the file, you will observe that it is printing case 2 is executed, case 3 is executed, and case not found, which is actually not correct. So what it is doing, whatever the first case it encounters is true, that statement it will print. Now after that, whatever the cases are left, it will print the statements of those cases as well. So means that it is not able to come out of that case. So that is why a break statement is required, so that we break from that specific case. That is why it is not able to execute the rest of the cases. Otherwise the result will be completely wrong. So we need to use the break statement every time, so that whatever the case it encounters first as true, after printing that statement, it should come out of that case and hence not execute the rest of the cases. Let's now try to think about some other example where you have been asked to perform arithmetic operations using the switch case statement. So whenever the value is a plus symbol, it should be able to add the numbers. When the value is a minus symbol, it should be able to find out the difference of the numbers. Whenever it's a divide symbol, division should be there, and whenever it's the multiply symbol, then the product should be calculated. Now by pausing the video, try to implement this example yourself. But I'll be continuing, and here I'm using this example. Already I'm pasting the code over here. So you have two numbers as num1 and num2, whose values are 25 and 24 respectively. Instead of using the variable value as 1, 2 or 3, we are using a character value. So all these symbols will be now representing the character value. So operator value I'm taking, the operator variable represented as OP, whose value initially is a plus symbol. So OP will be the parameter inside the switch function. Now we are generating multiple cases on the basis of the operator that we want. So whenever it's a plus symbol, then it should perform addition of the two numbers, and hence we are performing the arithmetic operation plus here. Whenever it's minus, then it should be able to print the difference of the two numbers. Whenever the value is a divide symbol, then it should be able to divide the numbers and should be able to multiply the numbers if the symbol is a multiply symbol. Now let's say if I change the value here, I'll be writing multiply symbol. So you can see that the product, the value, the statement changes here. The product is 600. Similarly, you try to write something which is, let's say if I'm writing hash symbol. So hash is not an operator. So that is why it will print operator not matched. Means none of the cases would be executed. So this way you can come across multiple other examples. But this is one important example that you should understand. Next topic is looping statements. So first of all, you should know what is a loop. It's a sequence of instructions which is continuously repeated until some condition is reached. So loops offer a quick and easy way to do something repeatedly. First one is for statement. This kind of loop repeats until a specified condition evaluates to false. So we have a syntax for this. You need to write the for keyword, where the first part of the parameter is initialization. You need to initialize your variable, put semicolon and write down some condition, till which condition do you want to reach. And what is the calculation afterthought here means that what calculation do you want to perform. You might want to increment or decrement, or let's say you might want to perform any other arithmetic operation. Now after the specific condition it reaches, then it has to come out of that loop. But till the time the condition is satisfied, it will keep printing this statement. It will come out of this loop only when this condition gets false. First of all, it depends that what is the question, whether you are required to use a loop for it or not. So if there is something that is supposed to be repeatedly executed, or some task is supposed to be performed repeatedly, that time you will have to use the looping. Now, we are going to take a simple example first. I'll be using the for loop statement in order to print the first 10 natural numbers. So I write here for. So what is the first parameter? The first parameter is the initialization. So let's say I'm going to write let I equals to 1, because I would like to start from 1. The natural numbers start from 1. So that is why the very first value that you want should always be initialized. We need to start from 1. Now, how many natural numbers do we want to print? Here we need to write down the condition. So I write in the same variable. You don't have to initialize it once again. Don't write where or let again, otherwise it will be wrong. You cannot declare the same variable again. So simply write I, then write less than 11. Now that is up to you whether you write less than 11 or you write less than equal to 10. Both ways it will be correct. So now after this, till this condition is reached, it has to perform some calculation. We start from 1 and we want to print the first 10 natural numbers. So it means that we have to increment. So put another semicolon and increment. We'll be using the post increment operator, that is plus plus symbol. Now further use the curly braces. Now you can perform your task document.write. You can simply write here the value I. And after you have saved it, you will be able to see, I'll zoom in the output. What you see is 1, 2, 3, so on to 10 in just one line. Now if you want to print these numbers in a separate line, then you can use a plus operator, that is the string concatenation operator. Use the break tag of the HTML. That will bring your next value to the next line. And you can see it is printing the first 10 natural numbers. Quite easy to understand. So what really we are doing here is, we started from our initialized value was 1. It started from 1. And when the value is 1, it will increment it to 2. Why? Because 1 is less than equal to 10. So this condition is true. Hence, it will increment, will print the value. Again, it will work upon the incremented value. Right now, the value is 2. 2 is less than equal to 10. Again, it will increment, will become 3, and hence will print the value. Now, it will work upon 3 value and again increment. So this will go on till the value becomes 10. Now, when the value becomes 10, it is still true. It will print the value 10. But when the I value becomes 11, so that time it will exit out of the loop, because 11 is not less than or equal to 10. It is greater than 10. Hence, the condition becomes false, due to which it comes out of the loop, and hence nothing else will be printed after 10. Similarly, you can print the first, you can say first 10 even numbers, you can print odd numbers, you can print the table of a number, and there are many other possible tasks that can be performed if you are given a real world project. The next kind of loop statement is while statement. A while statement executes its statements as long as a specified condition evaluates to true. So we don't have any initialization part here, just like the for loop. All we have is while keyword, a while function within which we have to specify the condition. So the variable declaration will be actually done outside, that is just before the while statement. So there you can initialize your variable, put down the condition, and any kind of calculation will be performed within the while statement. So let's try to implement this now. Now let's implement the same example with the help of while statement. Let's take a new variable as j, whose value is 1. So the variable is declared. We all know that we don't have to declare the variable within the while statement. It will be just a condition. So within the while function, you have to write on the condition. I'll be writing j less than equal to 10. Now here you're going to perform the calculation. Here only you're going to print your values. Now you can increment your value and print document.write j, and we need a break tag as well. So what exactly is happening? You are able to see now that it is not starting from 1, it's actually starting from 2. It's because we are first of all incrementing the value and then we are printing it. So the choice of the placement of the statement that you want to print is important. Whether you increment first, if you want to increment first, then your initialization value and the condition should be changed. Or else you can, with the same set of initialization value and same condition, you can simply change the placement of this statement. So it will now start with 1 and hence end till 10. So what now it is happening, it's now checking the condition, and after checking the condition, it will first of all print 1. So it will not increment it first, but it will print the initialized value, that is the original value. After that, it will increment. Here it becomes 2. Now it will check 2 less than equal to 10, and 2 will be printed. Now it will increment it, will check 3 less than equal to 10, and the loop goes on. So the condition gets dissatisfied only when the value of j becomes greater than 10. So it is required to be careful while taking the initialization value or the condition or the placement of your the statement that you want to print, and also the increment or decrement calculation. Next we have do while statement. The do while statement repeats until a specified condition evaluates to false. So it is somewhat different from the actual while statement. In the while statement, it will always first check condition and then it will execute. But in case of do, even if the condition is false, but the very first time it is always going to execute that part, even if the condition is false. So this is that syntax. It says do the part, whatever the part that you want to display or execute or print or calculate, till this condition is satisfied. So as you can see, that condition is mentioned in the last. Now what if this condition is already not true? It is already false, but it doesn't know yet because till now it has not encountered this statement. So when your program starts, it will always first of all print the statement, then it will come to the while condition, to the while function and check the condition, and if the condition is true, again it will execute the do part, and then again it will check the condition. If it's true, again it will execute the do part, but if the condition is false, then it will come out of that loop. But every time you must also take care that if the condition is already not true or already false, still it will, at least once, it will print that statement because of this do keyword. Let's implement this example now. Let's write do and then while. So till the condition gets satisfied, then the statement will keep executed. That is, the do part will keep executing. So first of all, let's declare the variable, that is let I and j are already declared, so we can take any other variable. Let's say s equals to, I write here 1, whose value is 1, and it will keep printing document.write, keep printing this s value until this condition gets satisfied. So what's that condition? While s is less than equal to 10. Right. So right now it is, you can see that the page is now loading. It will keep on loading because now it has become an infinite loop. So we are actually not performing any increment or decrement, and that's the reason that always this condition is satisfied. So since the condition is always satisfied, the page will keep loading. And now you can see I also have to, now my pages are now unresponsive. I need to exit my page now. Okay, anyways, we can do this. We can now perform this. We are now going to increment s++. Right, and now we have to once again load it, and you can see we are able to print the numbers from 1 till 10. So here also you need to take care that what's the placement of the statement that is going to print, and what's the placement of the calculation. What exactly is happening here? It is first of all performing the task instead of checking the condition first. So always remember that doesn't matter what is the condition, at least once your do statement will be executed. So here in this case, the value of s is 1, it will print 1 and will increment the value, it becomes 2. Now it will check the condition 2 is less than equal to 10. So 2 is less than equal to 10, again that condition is true, again the statement will be executed, and so on. When the value of s becomes greater than 10, it will exit from the loop and hence will print only the values till 10. We have another set of control statements that is continued with the previous set of control statements. So these control statements can be integrated with the looping statements. There may be possibility that you may not want to print a particular value within the loop. You might want to skip it, or let's say you might not want to go till the last condition. So for this, we have some special statements. So the first one is continue statement. The continue statement terminates the execution of the statements in the current iteration of the current or the labeled loop and continues execution of the loop with the next iteration. Check the syntax here. We are first of all going to perform it with the for loop. It can be performed with for, while, or do while. Any kind of loop it will work with. But right now we'll be working with for loop. So we already have this condition as we know, and some piece of code is going to be executed till this condition is satisfied. Now in between there may be a possibility that you may want to skip a special value. You may want to skip a particular value. Let's say you want to print the first 10 natural numbers, but you want to skip one value. Let's say you want to skip 5. So you can put a condition here and it will skip the value 5 and hence will continue from the 6th value. So it will print 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 5 will be skipped. So this is just an example. So let's perform this example. Already we have the same example right now. Now what we are supposed to do is we need to skip one particular value in this loop. So for this we will be putting a condition, that is if I value is double equal to, that is if its value is equivalent to 5, then it has to continue. The meaning of continue means it will skip that value, that is it will skip 5 and hence will start from 6. Let's check the result of this. As of now you see that it is printing all the 10 values from 1 till 10. It is not skipping 5. It's because we are checking the condition at the wrong place. So what it does is, because the value is being checked after the value is printed. So it is first of all printing the value, then it is checking the condition. So means that till that time 5 is already printed. It is already printed, later on it is checking the condition. So nothing can be done after this. So all you have to take care is the placement, regarding the placement of this condition. So check the condition beforehand and then print the value. Now you can see that 5 has been skipped and it is printing from 6 till 10. It will print from 1 to 4, will skip 5 and will start from 6 and then will print till 10. In the similar manner, you can integrate these statements with other looping statements, just like this one. You have the while condition and here you are specifying the condition for which you want to continue with. Now the next kind of statement is break statement. This statement will terminate the current loop or the switch statement and transfers program control to the statement following the terminated statement. We actually already have integrated it with the switch case statement, but it can also be integrated with the other kinds of loop statements. So here, instead of using the continue, we are going to specify a condition for the break. Now what is the difference between continue and break? Continue will skip one value and will continue from the next value. But break will completely exit the loop. So means that if you're writing if the value double equals to 5, it will simply exit out of the loop and will not print any value further. So let's check this with the help of an example. Right now it's printing all the 10 values. So we need to exit from the loop when the value becomes 5. So means that only the first 4 values should be printed. So let's write the condition here. So if I is 5, then it should exit the loop by writing the break statement. It's having the same functionality here as in switch case statement. So let's check the result and you see only the first 4 values have been printed. Next we have Popup Boxes. The JavaScript provides built-in global functions to display pop-up message boxes for different purposes. And the most commonly used is an alert box, can be displayed with the help of an alert function. The alert function displays a message to the user to display some information. And this alert box will have the OK button to close the alert box. So let's try this with the example. For implementing an alert box, you can simply write alert, and you can write a message, the alert function executed. Right, so after saving, you will find that an alert box is generated with the message, the alert function executed. And there is an OK option for you to click on. So when you click, you will be again able to see your web page. Right, but you will not be able to see anything after this heading because it's not going to print anything. It is just supposed to generate an alert. Now after this, the next is that how we can integrate this functionality with other set of programs. Now let's say I'll use this program. I'll copy this and instead I'm going to paste it here. Now what we are required to do is that whenever a break statement is executed, we should be given an alert. The user should be alerted regarding the execution of the break statement. So here we can write alert and write break statement executed. So before printing the values, before it prints the values, before it even breaks from the loop, it will first of all print the statement in order to alert the user. So you save this and you will be able to see this alert. When you click on OK, and you will be able to see 1, 2, 3, and 4. Next kind of pop-up box is a confirm box. We use the confirm function to take the user's confirmation before starting some task. So confirmation is just a way to get the confirmation from the user that whether you want to continue or not. So now let's reload this page. We have already used this function confirm, and there's a message click OK to continue, and same message is displayed here. Now you can either click on OK or cancel. So if you click on cancel, then whatever the functionality was supposed to be shown to you, that functionality will not be visible. If you click OK, then whatever the further functionality is available, that will be visible to you. So right now, it doesn't matter whether you click on OK or cancel, it will be the same result. The last kind of pop-up box is a prompt box. So we use the prompt function in order to take the user's input to do further actions. Let's say you are performing some task for which you want to take input from the user rather than specifying the value directly inside your program. So let's say we want to add two numbers. So there are two ways. One is declaring the variables and initializing the values within the program. Second way is you can use the prompt function in order to get the input from the user and then add the values. So let's check out this example. Let's now declare two variables. Let n1 equals to, instead of simply writing the value here, we are going to use the prompt function and get the user enter the first value or enter the first number. Similarly, we are going to have another number, n2 equals to prompt, and with the message enter the second value. Enter the second value. Now in order to add up these two numbers, you can show the result either using document.write, you can use an alert box, or you can use console.log as well. So whatever the way possible, you can use it. Right now I'll be using an alert box where I would like to show the result of these two numbers, that is n1 plus n2. Let's check it out. So this is a prompt box where there is you can see a text box where we need to input the value, and you have two options, OK and cancel. So I'll be inputting my first value 25, click OK. Then a second value, let's say 56, click OK. Now you see that the alert box is generating some value, but this value is actually not correct because the values that we have given, they are being concatenated instead of being added. So this actually happens in JavaScript. Otherwise also in other programming languages, we have a concept called as operator overloading. So where the plus symbol is able to concatenate the characters, and also it is able to add up the numbers. But in this case, what we have to do, right here where you are writing the prompt function, use number keyword and enclose it within the brackets. You can also use parse int. So that time you don't have to put number here. You can use a parse int in order to parse the value as an integer. And here also you can write number. So what will happen in this case, whatever the values you write within the prompt box will be actually considered as integers. Initially it was being considered as characters. Now again, write on the values 25 and then 56. Now you can see that it is giving us the correct result. In the same way, you can also use minus, divide, the modulus, and whatsoever the arithmetic operators you can perform can be used here. But this kind of problem only arises with the plus symbol because it can be used for both addition as well as concatenation. We have now reached the end of the lecture. These are the references. And this is the program link. That's all for this lecture.